and you'll not see wonderful in Hallelujah Square. I saw an old man, he was gasping for breath. Soon he'd be gone as his eyes closed in death. Looked at me, said, "Why don't be so blue? I'm going up to heaven. How about you? I'm gonna see all my friends in Hallelujah Square. What a wonderful time we'll all have up there. We're gonna sing and praise Jesus, His glory to share, and we'll all live forever on Hallelujah Square. I'm gonna see all my friends in Hallelujah Square. What a wonderful time we'll all have up there. We're gonna sing and praise Jesus, His glory to share, and we'll all live forever on Hallelujah Square. We will not see one blind man in Hallelujah Square. For you'll not see one cripple in Hallelujah Square. Yes, we'll all live forever on Hallelujah Square. Now, we were the cathedral, we repeated that chorus about 82 times, but we're not, so we won't. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. You know, and it's probably sooner than we think. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Soon and very soon, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. No more crying there, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. No more dying there, we are going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we're going to see the King. And that will be a truly glorious day. If I'd only known the last time would be the last time, I would have put off all the things I had to do. Would have stayed a little longer, held on a little tighter. Now what I'd give for one more day with you. 'Cause there's a wound here in my heart where something's missing. And they tell me that it's gonna heal with time. But I know you're in a place where all your wounds have been erased. And knowing yours are healed is healing mine. And the only scars in heaven, they will belong to me and you. There'll be no such thing as broken. And the old will be made new. Not a day goes by when I don't see you. You live on in all the better parts of me. Till I'm standing with you in the sun, I'll fight this race all run. Till I finally see what you can see. They start in heaven, they won't belong to me and you. Let me know something has broken, and the old will be made new. That makes me smile now, even as the beautiful love is that the only stars in heaven are in the hands that hold you down, and the one that makes me smile now. Even as the tears fall down, is that the only stars in heaven are in the hands that hold you down.
So we are going to continue on with this series that I've titled The Domino Effect, Breaking the Cycle. And again, the definition for a domino effect is this: chain reaction where a single event sets off a series of similar or related events. Now, every domino effect needs a catalyst, a starting point. And sometimes the domino effect starts with a negative event, like a bad decision, like these guys. You have to question a lot of things in life when you see this. I'm sorry, I just have to watch this a couple of times because it blows my mind. Or this guy, which I really thought was kind of funny. It's watching videos like this that make me pray that these guys cannot procreate. Yet, not all domino effects start with bad decisions. Sometimes the domino effect starts with a good decision, and the future actually gets better. Now, last week we talked about breaking the cycle. Basically means that we weren't going to become like our parents. We weren't going to follow in their footsteps. However, sometimes breaking the cycle means we have to stop doing what we are doing. It means it has nothing to do with our parents. It has everything to do with what we are doing or how we're doing it. Now, let's be honest. A lot of us like to do things a certain way, and that would be our way. It is the old saying, it is my way or the highway. The problem is, doing things our way is not always the best way. You may think it is. You may want it to be.
But it is far from it.
But it's usually far from it. And the truth is, when we need things done our way, we tend to force others to comply to it. And that is the point of this message. So, in the book of Exodus, we read about a new Pharaoh that comes into power. This new Pharaoh knows nothing of Joseph, the very Joseph that actually saved Egypt. And given that, this new Pharaoh actually enslaved all of the Israelite community. Then comes God and Moses, who are going to demand that Pharaoh change his ways and set the Israelites free. In Exodus chapter 3, God calls Moses to go and talk to Pharaoh. But Pharaoh considers himself a god, and Moses was nothing more than a runaway Hebrew. Needless to say, that conversation was never going to end well. Then we come to chapter number 5, and we read the Lord's request. It says this: "Let my people go, so actually smiled at that. You people are reading that. Google Woodstock, okay? Notice how Pharaoh, a self-proclaimed God, responds. He says, "Is that so? And who is the Lord? Why should I listen to him and let Israel go? I don't know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Now, Pharaoh is not going to release his workforce, especially to an unknown God. And this is where we see the dominoes begin to fall. In Exodus chapter 7, we see the Lord's command again. But this time the command comes and snakes are now introduced. Aaron's staff turns into a snake to kind of demonstrate God's power. But then we see this. Then Pharaoh called in his own wise men and sorcerers, and these Egyptian magicians did the same thing with their magic. They threw down their staffs, which also became serpents. Notice, Pharaoh immediately calls his sorcerers, his magicians. Why? Because he's God, and Pharaoh needed to do things his way. Now things begin to get worse. In verse 20, Moses and Aaron are called to change the water into blood, change the Nile into blood. So Moses and Aaron did as the Lord commanded them. As Pharaoh and all of his officials watched, Aaron raised his staff and struck the water of the Nile. Suddenly the whole river turned to blood. Yet again, look at how Pharaoh responds in verse 22. But again, the magicians of Egypt used their magic, and they too turned water into blood. Understand something important here. With the Nile being blood, all the fish died. Thus they have no fish to eat. Yet instead of Pharaoh using his so-called powers to fix the problem, to reverse what God has done, which would have helped the country, he actually makes the problem worse. Just to prove a point. And his point is, I'm God, and I have to do it my way. The truth is, Pharaoh could have avoided this incident had he just relinquished command for a few days. But that meant submission. And he was not going to submit, especially to an unknown God. So the first domino was the snakes, the second domino is the blood. Then comes the plague of frogs, and the same basic thing happens. God brings the frogs in Exodus 8, chapter 8, verse 7. But the magicians were able to do the same thing with their magic. They too caused the frogs to come up out of the land of Egypt. So again, Pharaoh makes the problem worse, just to prove a point. And sadly, when he made the problem worse, he had to move his chariot. And you're probably thinking, what does moving his chariot have to do with conjuring up frogs? Because if he left it where it was, it would have been total. I thought it was hilarious, but apparently I didn't get the same reaction. Okay. Understand Pharaoh's logic here. If I can do it, then there's nothing special about your God.